Good morning. Continuing our series on the 7 dimensions of the mind. Today we're doing part 1 of the 6th dimension. Guru David describes it in this way. The 6th dimension is color, sound, and vibration, as well as subtle forms and beings composed of these elements. The colors of the 6th dimension are unlike colors we have ever seen on the surface of the earth. They are brighter, yet more subtle, and they mix and mingle. In other words, colors pass into and through each other, creating exquisite varieties of color with form. The beautiful actinic body of light, that pure inner body, exists in the 6th dimension. Awareness in the 6th dimension has an all-knowing capacity which is difficult to translate into 4th dimensional conceptual understanding. Therefore, mystics often have deep 6th dimensional experiences but cannot always recall the experience later. This dimension is outside of the normal processes of thought and time, and a prolonged experience may seem to last an entire month, while its actual duration on the physical plane is only 2 seconds, and such vast experience cannot register within the faculty of time-space memory patterns of the 4th dimension. But from the 4th dimension, the aspirant would intuit later certain aspects of the experience and bring them through to work with and use in his daily life. Extended practice of kaif and other disciplined contemplative efforts bring more and more awareness of the deeper dimensions into daily perceptions. Science has recently discovered the 6th dimension. It tells us that all matter is energy in a grosser form, and that even a chair can be reduced to sound and color at a submolecular level. And they are right. A chair on one level sounds like a symphony and looks like a light show. But in the 2nd dimension, it is just an ordinary chair. It exists simultaneously in all dimensions and looks different from each. The great saints and sages, venerated by men, have lived fully in this rarefied mind strata. They are people who once lived in physical bodies and in the 4th dimension, and who now live totally in the 6th dimension. It is possible to live without a physical body in this dimension and to still be fully conscious. One lives in his inner body. Temple deities are 6th dimensional beings. When we visit temples, they actually do hear and see our supplications. Great beings who no longer need a physical body also reside in this dimension. If awareness has been well schooled in concentration, it can hold itself placidly in the intensity of the 6th dimension, remaining there to view the interrelated inner forces which construct the inner bodies of man. The actinotic or astral body and the golden actinic body, which is given birth after continued experiences of self-realization. The 6th dimension is a guarded area of the mind, less accessible than other states. The gates to these realms are guarded by fierce and apparently demonic creatures, and entrance is only gained once it is earned. The best way to earn access into the 6th dimension is to come in from the 7th. The best way to gain audience with a king is to be a king yourself. Better not to consciously open the psychic centers of the 6th dimension, but to understand the realm. When the time is right, experience will come of itself. It is far easier anyway to enter the equally blissful seventh dimension by entering Shoum BC, energy in the spine, and from there into pure consciousness, Kaif. The bliss of the seventh dimension is quite different from that in the sixth. Sixth dimension, of course, is the dimension that visions take place in. And I think in terms of visions, Gurudeva's most important vision is of Lord Shiva in 1975, which is the basis for the creation of Kadavul Temple. So I thought I'd read Gurudeva's description of his 1975 vision as a sixth-dimensional story. In the early hours of February 15th, 1975, lying on a tatami mat in his ryokan room, Gurudeva was having one of those profound sleeps that is neither awake nor full of dreams. In that clear space above physical consciousness, I saw Lord Shiva walking in the meadow near the Wailua River. His face was looking into mine. Then he was seated upon a great stone. I was seated on his left side. This was the vision. Became more vivid as the years passed. Upon re-entering earthly consciousness, I felt certain that the great stone was somewhere on our monastery land and set about to find it. Guided from within by my Satguru, I hired a bulldozer and instructed the driver to follow me as I walked to the north edge of the property that was then a tangle of buffalo grass and wild guava. I hacked my way through the jungle southward as the bulldozer cut a path behind me. After almost half a mile, I sat down to rest near a small tree. Though there was no wind, suddenly the tree's leaves shimmered as if in the excitement of communication. I said to the tree, "What is your message?" In reply, my attention was directed to a spot just to the right of where I was sitting. When I pulled back the tall grass, there was a large rock, the self-created lingam on which Lord Shiva had sat. A stunningly potent vibration was felt. The bulldozer's trail now led exactly to the sacred stone, surrounded by 5 smaller boulders. Sanmarga, the straight or pure path to God, had been created. An inner voice proclaimed, "This is the place where the world will come to pray." Sanmarga symbolizes each soul's journey to liberation through union with God. End of story. And we have some sixth-dimensional Shoum words. Ingma Limni is the name of the sixth dimension. 1. Sixth dimension, superconscious mind. 2. The rarefied area of mind of color, sound, and vibration, as well as subtle forms and beings composed of these elements. 3. Temple deities are sixth-dimensional beings. 4. Great beings who no longer need a physical body also reside in this dimension. 5. This dimension relates to the Kamshumalinga Chemavumna, which is Ajna chakra in Sanskrit. 6. To experience the monograms within this dimension, look out from between the eyes. So Gurudeva relates dimensions 4, 5, 6, and 7 to the higher chakras. When we did dimension 7, you look through the top of your head. Dimension 6, you're looking out. Of course, you're looking out into the inner world, not looking out into the physical world. And we have Leaf Nifa. 1. After Im Kaif, one may re-enter Im Kaif time and time again when returning to the area this portrait names. 2. One experiences nothing but a strong, continuing, dynamic awareness of the area. 3, a feeling of awareness, a feeling or awareness of going and returning time after time. 4, like lightning, one goes through Im Kaif and out to Lif Nifa 40 times a second, but it registers in outer dimensions as once a second or once a minute or longer. 5, Ilif Che and Misif Na can be entered after this state of Lif Nifa as awareness moves out from it. So it makes sense to see what those two words are. Ilifje. 1. Being the self in everyone, seeing, knowing, feeling, being Yulomf, the life force, actinic energy in everyone, especially those closest to the experiencer. 2. After Im Kaif, one may enter and hold the state, this portrait names. And then we have Misifna, seeing oneself as all form and all actinic energy. After Im Kaif, one may enter and hold this state of seeing as oneself all form in all actinic energy, and actinic energy in all form. This occurs simultaneously. So that idea of seeing oneself as everything is in this Yogaswami letter that he wrote to Yogendra Durai Swami. I am with you, and you are with me. There is no distance between us. I am you, you are I. What is there to fear? Look, I exist as you. Then what must you do? You must love. Whom? Everyone. To speak more clearly, your very nature is love. Not only you, but all are pervaded by love. But there is no all, for you alone exist. All are you. Om Namah Shivaya.